All right. Well, good day, everyone, and thank you for attending today's webinar. My name is Jason Barnett. I'm the Director of Manufacturing and Product Lifecycle Management at Imaginet Technologies. I know many of you on the call today. It's good to see a lot of familiar names. I'm also here with Harper Coulter, a PLM specialist, and I know she's worked with many of you as well. So thank you for being here. My goal today is to outline to you some of the changes that have happened in Fusion Lifecycle over the past few years. And, I hope to compel those of you on the classic PLM 360 interface to consider making the switch to the more modern Fusion Lifecycle interface, which I think brings about a new both administrative and user experience. And for those people that are already on the modern interface, I just hope you see something new that will help you improve the experience in using the system. So pretty simple agenda here. I'm going to go through, and I know a lot of you work with us already, but I'm going to go ahead and overview Imaginet Technologies because I think it's kind of new to some of the ASI Advanced Solutions customers. So I'm just going to do a quick review, go over the modern PLM user interface. I'm going to give some of my key high-level updates, and then Harper's going to go through a little more of a technical review, and then we'll just quickly follow up with some suggestions on how you might move, especially if you're on Classic, how you might move to Modern. And then I don't think it'll take the entire hour, so I think there'll be plenty of time for questions towards the end. So Imaginet Technology is a wholly owned subsidiary of RAND Corporation, which is really a family of technologies that acquires, resells, creates, and implements technology for our customers with the intention of helping them become really more efficient, building better quality products, and becoming more profitable. So last year, Imaginet and Advanced Solutions combined to be the largest Autodesk partner in North America, and that's both on just the general Autodesk in the general Autodesk ecosystem, but also in the PLM world. And together, we have extensive reach now with more than 40 offices in North America, over 400 employees, and I'm proud to say our engineering group has more than 120 technical subject matter experts, and they really cover all the major engineering disciplines. So RAND does have several other divisions. That includes RAND 3D, which they're a leading provider of Dassault software, and they also provide training for Dassault software and parametric technologies. Our Ascent group creates high-quality professional training materials for Autodesk, PTC, and Dassault. And then Imaginet specializes in other areas such as ANSYS simulation, facilities management, and Leica scanning or reality capture. So we also have several brands, and I'll just mention a couple here that are relevant to this conversation. But Imaginet Pulse it's a very powerful integration platform that especially stands out when you're tying cloud applications to one another or doing integrations between cloud applications, or if you're doing a cloud to an on-premise application. It has a lot of strength there. Productivity Now is a comprehensive, customizable e-learning platform, and it's got a couple of really nice features like employee learning paths, so we can help put together a path specific to employees and make sure to level up their knowledge, and then also testing to test that knowledge. In the world of PLM, a couple of things that make us unique. We are a Fusion Lifecycle specialized partner, and that just means we're recognized by Autodesk as one of their few trusted partners, and there's not a lot of us, but one of the few to really design, implement, integrate, and support the Autodesk Fusion Lifecycle platform. So the other point of uniqueness too is we have really customers in many different industries, but also companies of all sizes. So we work with companies really that produce around $1 million a year to up in the billions of dollars a year in sales. That's quite unique in the world of PLM. We also have a strong background in process management, and Harper's on the call. She's an industrial engineer and very good at process, but we also have mechanical, engineer software engineering, and all of those competencies combined can really help companies like yours, drive that efficiency, quality, and innovation by better utilizing your technology, in this case, your PLM system. So, and then just to finish up, I'm involved in a lot of other bigger projects around data management, complicated automation projects, as well as PLM. And just one thing I'd say about our team is, if you can think of it, many times our people can make your ideas a reality. All right, so just a bit of history. Autodesk acquired DataState back in 2011, and it was really developed by a small company as a tool for ease of use of collaboration, really before, and this was outside of the firewall before cloud computing became mainstream. From there, Autodesk continued to build, one of the first pure cloud SaaS-based systems, which was PLM 360, which is very easy to use. It provided instant on availability to anyone, anytime, anywhere, on any device. Unbelievable industry-leading configurability, and very low-cost maintenance of the system, being that it's SaaS-based and so configurable. It's been a couple of years since I've last presented on the modern interface. I presented on it when it was a little bit newer, and a lot of the ideas that I spoke about back then are now starting to really kind of pour into the system. And over the past few years, Autodesk has rewritten the underpinnings of the system to really modernize the user experience, which just allows for more enhancements faster. Actually went on and counted, there were 26 releases in the last 18 months, or right around there. And all those were, they included fixes to the system, but also feature enhancements. Some of them we'll be talking about today. The interface just looks and acts better. The speeds, it was a little slow at first, but the speeds continued to pick up consistently over time. And the APIs have really removed a lot of barriers from the things that we do, and removed those roadblocks in both speed and capability. So, and again, I'll just repeat that I have the desire to get customers off the classic interface, and that's so Autodesk can really focus on a single platform. And I think that'll accelerate the development of this newer modern Fusion Lifecycle even further. Excuse me. All right. So, so the flexibility is built into the system, allows users to do things like easily collapse or expand data. Harper's going to show you an example in a little bit, just in one area where you can easily collapse a multi-line list and just single line just with a click of a button. So it just gives you more workspace, and and the site's more dynamic. I think the search results, which is a new feature that just came out, it's a new window, and the data comes out to be much more condensed, which is really nice. The original PLM 360 was designed really more in the standard screen format. The modern's designed to take advantage of more of a widescreen format. And then if you look at the two pictures over on the right of my screen, those are two different Autodesk products, and there are some variances, but one is Fusion Lifecycle. The other is BIM 360, which is a really kind of a construction collaboration tool. And the designs of the applications are unified really to give a constant experience across all the Autodesk cloud products. So previously classic, in the classic interface, it was pretty static. Newer technologies have made the web pages more dynamic and easier to change and then add new features to. So features can be delivered more quickly. Utilizing Autodesk Forge. So Forge is a platform for web service APIs, and those help us do things consistent across all the Autodesk applications like viewing, file translation, design automation, and data management. And again, it's used across all the Autodesk platforms. And in fact, at Imagine It, we use the same Forge services that Autodesk does to build powerful custom apps for our customers that do things like design automation or viewing customized and configured models out on our own customers' websites. Integration can be made more effective with the V3 API. Harper will get into some of the neat details of this, but one of the bigger things to me was access to nearly all the data in the system, including classification. That was kind of a sticking point in the past. And the other thing is we can process more data faster with more consistency. So we used to work within some constraints that have really been removed with the version 3 of the API. I'd also like to point out that recently Autodesk invested in a simple way to connect their Vault data management system with Fusion Lifecycle, or in other words, just connect engineering to the rest of the enterprise. And this supports workflows like between the PDM and the PLM application for new product introduction, transferring a CAD BOM to Fusion Lifecycle items automatically, and then mapping PLM change orders to vaulted documents. So you could control a engineering document by utilizing the PLM system. So I think the neat thing about this application that Autodesk developed is that it's ready to go. You really install it and configure it. There's not a ton of effort to get it stood up and get it running. So I'm going to go ahead and touch on a few key enhancements, and then I'll turn it over to Harper to get a little more into the technical details. So one of the top reasons that we see that our customers implement PLM is just because of the amount of time employees spend trying to find data that they can trust. So Autodesk has made incremental enhancements over the past couple of years with search, and they've really added a deeper search. There's more search options, very easy sorting and filtering. So previously you could search across workspaces, but you couldn't do it throughout the system. And now, and Harper will touch on some of this, now wherever you're at in the system, it enables you to really search across the whole system. And then there's a new concept that just came out as well called preview cards, and Harper will give you a preview of that as well. One of the other top reasons that customers seem to adopt PLM is to make informed decisions. So Autodesk has enabled Fusion Lifecycle customers to view all sorts of data without additional software. And again, this is utilizing the Forge viewer. And I know the direction this API service is headed, and it's pretty awesome already, but I expect more powerful functionality to be coming to the viewer. And as you can see, I mean, you can view up to 50 file formats, and I've got a picture of a PDF up there. That engine's actually a rendered 3D model that's out on the Forge site that you can spin around and pull apart, and then also a drawing. But we also view file formats from all kinds of different CAD systems as well. So from PTC or SolidWorks or neutral formats like STEP, you put them in there, you open it up, and you're able to view the data. So it's pretty nice functionality. All right, and I won't spend a lot of time on this, but for those of you in a regulated environment, the modern environment does support the ability to have users re-authenticate when improving workflows. And this functionality really provides that digital signature capability that could be required by an FDA regulation. So there are many other enhancements, and we're not going to cover them all today, but there's a lot of them that I think that'll drive efficiency and then help your users adopt better as well. So just the ability to easily add and create multiple items in line, really when you're in context of the work that you're doing, so not having to jump around in the system to do something. Just many quick user interface enhancements, generally drag and dropping things like files and folders in the attachments tab. And then the dialogues just continue to get better. They have a new, better user experience just by adding things like being able to sort columns, filtering, adding tooltips. And then one of the bigger pain points of the older interface was eliminating the unnecessary steps when you were doing a lifecycle change. So now it can be done in bulk with just a few clicks instead of many, many clicks, depending on how large the bill of material was you were working with. Okay, so now I'm going to turn the presentation over to Harper, who, of course, I think many of you know for more of a technical perspective. So Harper, if you could do a quick intro, and let me make you the presenter here.
Yeah, thanks, Jason.
Stop sharing here, and let's see. You should be the presenter now.
All right.
And I do see your screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Harper Coulter. I came on board as a PLM specialist a little over 4 years ago. I've helped architect and build out a lot of our customers' PLM systems. I am an industrial engineer, so I'm pretty passionate about simplifying and improving processes. And then the fun part of my job is I get to help wrap a system around those processes, and I'm really helping people just do their jobs more efficiently. So I'm excited to talk to you today about some awesome features in the Fusion Lifecycle. All right, so in Classic, whenever you created a field and it's a pick list, you were constrained to a couple of options, like single select, multi-select, show first value as default is even an option, and then with search filter is an option. And so in Modern, every pick list is searchable regardless of its configuration. So that saves time for administrators. You don't have to set up anything extra. And then it's also obviously just saving time for users, especially if this pick list has a lot of values in it. They don't have to scroll through. They can just type in and search and find the value they need. I love the precondition filters. It's been out for a little while now, but still definitely worth talking about. So we used to have to use precondition scripts, like writing JavaScript, on almost every transition to control who is assigned to the workflow. So Autodesk listened to some feedback about slow load times, especially with my outstanding work taking a while to refresh, and they came up with precondition filters. So precondition filters are available on all workflow transitions in every workflow editor. They're available right now, regardless of which user interface you're using. And you can select the owner or additional owners. And then if you have any fields in the item details of that workspace that use the users all by name pick list, then those fields are available there. And the precondition filters are just filtering down. Only the people in those fields that are selected have access to the workflow. So Autodesk's goal with this was to eliminate some of the need for JavaScript. It's still going to be needed when we're handling like business logic. Like if the cost is greater than $10,000, we might want to send the workflow a different route and send it to a VP review. So we would use a JavaScript for that in the precondition script, but by and large, we should be able to assign users to the workflow with precondition filters. So this gives us better system performance, faster loading of my outstanding work, and then also just easier setup. There's less writing of JavaScript that you have to do. In the modern user interface, edit mode actually shows you what you've removed. It highlights that and strikes it out in red. If you've modified anything, it puts that little blue triangle on the top. And then the bottom row here on this slide is a new row, so every single cell has that blue triangle. And so that just gives you a good visual of what changes you've made before you commit those changes and click Save. All right, so related changes. You're probably familiar with this tab. It shows change orders that have revised or are revising this item. So in Classic, we can't interact with this tab at all. It's view only. But in Modern, we have this Add button. So that allows us to add the item that we're looking at to an existing change order. The menu is consistent with other tabs, like the BOM tab and Relationships tab. So we also have that Create New Item button down there, but I'm going to show you a much better way to create a new change order and get the item added later on when we do live demo. So this saves you steps. You don't have to go find the change order and go to the Affected Items tab if you're already looking at this item and you want to add it to the change order. But being able to interact with this tab also just makes the system experience more consistent for users. All right, so the main thing I want to review with you is just all the features that are available on the BOM tab now. We still have expand and collapse to look at every level that's in the BOM. We're looking at the flat view now, so that's the lowest level components that are in the BOM. And then we can still set up different BOM views with different columns, and that's how we view the different views. We can go back to our nested view. We still have export to Excel to export our BOM, and then also download all related attachments in a zip file. We still have the compare BOM feature to do redlining. So we're going to compare Rev B to Rev A for this BOM. And you can see the last two items were added since Rev A, and then the first two actually just changed position. So we have that ability to highlight differences in the position. So all of these features weren't available when Modern UI was first available. They came over time. But the big takeaway here is that the BOM tab in Modern UI is equivalent to Classic now. By default, when we add a revision-controlled item to a Relationships tab of another item, if the rev-controlled item goes through a change order, then it doesn't update to the latest rev on the Relationships tab. So that might be good in a quality workspace. We definitely want to know which version of the item was not conforming. But if we're looking at relating documents and parts, for example, then we probably want to keep the latest version up to date on the Relationships tab of both the document and the part. So now we have that option. This is in the Workspace Manager, Workspace Relationships. We can check this box, and then anytime items change, the latest revision can be propagated to the Relationships tab. All right, so there are a lot of different ways that we can create new items without just going to the workspace and clicking new item. On the left, you see from different tabs, we have the option to create a new item. In the middle, there's the Quick Create and Change Orders option. We'll walk through that in detail. And then the right is the newest. So when we're editing item details and we are editing a tick list that is using a workspace-based tick list, we can actually create a new item in that workspace. And regardless of which button you click on, it's going to take you to the Quick Create flyout. It's consistent for every button that you click. And then you get to create items as you're working instead of stopping and going to a different workspace. So I want to take a minute here and just talk about what APIs are. I know you heard Jason talk about them earlier. So Fusion Lifecycle has a fully accessible REST application programming interface. So APIs help you get data out of a system or put data in a system. We use it for connecting systems and doing integrations so that systems can automatically share data. Autodesk has done a lot of work on building a new API. It's called V3, and I'm definitely not going to cover the whole thing. There are actually just a couple of pieces of information that I think you'll find interesting that I want to share. So we have access to the system logs through the user interface under the admin menu. The system logs show basically just what users are doing, if they log in, if they edit a field, etc. But now we have access through the API, so we can actually write code against this, and that could be helpful, especially if you have vendors in your system and you want to see if users haven't been active in a while. Then you can contact the vendor and make sure that that user still works there and should still have access. So all paragraph fields, when you start using a modern interface, they turn into rich text paragraph fields, which is really cool that you can do things like italics and bold and bulleted lists and things like that. However, when you pull the data out through the API, that leaves all these HTML tags that you can see in the top. And so in the V3 API, there's an option to just filter out and say, give me any paragraph content as plain text. So it takes out all those HTML tags automatically. And that can be helpful if you're sending data to a system that doesn't have rich text fields. All right, next up we have demonstrations. I'm going to walk you through all of the search features that Jason was talking about, as well as workspace views, the attachments tab, especially the 3D viewer, and then change orders, that quick create option in that new process. Thank you. So first we'll talk about searching. Let's say I'm working on a product called GT220. So I'm just going to search for that. And you can see all my results here. This page probably looks quite a bit different to you. So this view and searching is actually in preview right now. It's very soon to come to production. So you're seeing something brand new. As we look through our results, we have this preview option when we're hovering over an item. So if I click that, I can see just more details about what's going on with this kappa. It already has a prevention plan. And then I have some tasks down here. I'm not quite sure why they're showing up, so I can view the preview, and they are related to my GT220 product. We have the ability to filter down only certain workspaces. Maybe I just want to look at my quality things. You can see I have a couple of RMAs related to that product, and then also the kappa that we looked at. We can control how we're sorting. So relevance, obviously, the algorithm's just deciding how relevant that search item is. We can sort by when things were last edited or when they were created. Also the item descriptor, basically just sorts by the part numbers that are in the items and bombs workspace, and then alphabetically for other workspaces. If I look at the option on the right here, we can look at when things were created or last modified. So I'll look for things that were created just in February of this month. And we have one item here. We can also filter our results by owner and who last edited and who last created. So if I look at what Jason created, pretty much everything. And then if I look at what I created, there are no results, but then it does give us the option to view the documentation. And this is in the help guide. So this is pretty useful to look through. And there are tons of different options for entering and filtering by what you want to search for. So with all of the development that's been done on searching, you have a lot more tools now to narrow your search results. Next, I'm going to talk to you about workspace views. So I'm in the tasks workspace. This is the default view. This is what you get when you are first opening up a workspace. The default view just comes with the item descriptor in the current state. But I want to add another view. So we have the option to create a new view here. I'm going to call it My Task. And then I can select which columns I want to add. I'll take out the descriptor. I just want to see the title, what state it's in, and what product it's for. Now to filter it down so I only see my tasks, I'm going to say approvers contains my name. And then there's a list of my tasks. If I want to make this my default view when I open up the tasks workspace, I just select that star right there. The compact view option here, Jason was talking about data density. So if we turn this on, it's kind of like wrap text, that feature in Excel. And then when you turn off the compact view, it automatically doubles up the lines, makes it so you can read everything. And then another feature that we have with the modern workspace views is duplicate. So if I just want to copy this view and use that as a starting point, I can do that. So I'll say I want to look at tasks for my whole team. I'll change the approvers filter. And I'll say it can be me or my team member. And or is a pretty big deal. That's not available in classic workspace views. And then I can also filter down. I don't want to see anything that's complete. Well, I did it the wrong way. You would do does not contain. So we just created several views really quickly. Workspace views are a really powerful way to kind of search and slice your data and set up default options for things that lists of records that you often need to look at. All right, now we can talk about attachments. So in modern UI, we still have the drag and drop from your computer. So I'm dragging from my Windows Explorer here. And then we can drag and drop within attachments to rearrange. So I can drag this file and put it in the test data folder. We can also just type in descriptions here in an inline editing feature. We still have the bulk download option, so we can get everything that's attached just to this item, everything that's attached to items that are related to this item, like BOM items, or we can download everything into a zip file. And then lastly, for attachments, but probably the most exciting, we can look at the 3D viewer. So I didn't even have to download this file. And I can navigate, I can isolate objects so that I can look more closely at them, or I can hide this object so I can look at what's underneath it. And then we also have a cross-section capability. Pretty powerful to be able to do that just in the browser. And then the last thing I have to show you is the Quick Create and ECO. So I'm looking at a product here, a custom steering wheel. If I look at the bill of material, this actual steering wheel itself is not yet released. And then we have a couple of things in a pre-release design state, but most things are working and not yet released. So if I want to release this item, I can use the Quick Create option. And then to show you what Autodesk has improved on this, we have the Show All Fields. We can toggle that to see either everything that's on item details or the bare minimum. And then we can also expand and collapse this window. I'm going to say this is an initial release, just entering my bare minimum information. When I do save and manage, that takes me to a second screen. I'm not done with the creation process yet, where I choose the lifecycle. Is this doing an initial design revision, or is this bypassing design and releasing to production? And then when I click Save and View, it takes me straight to the change order. So the process of creating a change order And getting the lifecycle populated in Classic seems pretty laborious compared to this modern UI process. This is just a few clicks. I'm going to add all of the BOM items that were not yet released. So when I leave it at working version different from release, that's what it's going to filter for. Also, if anything that is released has been changed, that pulled in all my unreleased items, and now I can select all the items and do a bulk lifecycle change. And I'll say I want to do everything that's unreleased. I want to put it in design. So there's the edit mode. It's showing all the lifecycles that are being updated. I'll click Save to commit that. And we've only got 21 items on this change order, but that was a lot quicker to do the bulk change than for me to click through every one, which is what we have to do in Classic. All right, and that concludes my technical overview.
All right, thank you, Harper. Great job. I really appreciate it. I was just noticing, the other piece that, and this kind of goes back to some of the newer technology, but when you're making some of the changes, the pages don't refresh. I mean, just the part that needs to refresh updates. And I just think there's some little neat things that are happening there that are kind of hard to point out, but they're useful productivity tools for users of the system. So let me reshare here.
Sure.
I just gotta, yeah. Okay, so so where do we go from here? So I just have some suggestions. I just say that the team at ImagineIt, the PLM group, is a good-sized team, but it's still a tight community, and we really care deeply about making sure that we help our customers become successful. And it's a pretty neat position to be in. So I just wanted to kind of offer up a way for those of you that might wonder, I'm still on the Classic interface. How do I move forward? So one of the best things to do, I think, is just kind of to review the tenant with our team. And we may know your tenant well in some cases. In other cases, we might not know it as well. But with the intention of maybe making a change to the system, set up a time to just review your tenant with our team. And you could do that through Harper or I or your sales rep, or we'll send a follow-up after this. And then we can look together more at making the risk or the risk that would be involved in making a change. We can also help you get a sandbox tenant. So Autodesk will give a sandbox tenant so you can, if you're in production, we don't want to mess around with your production tenant. I think all of us in the technology implementation space, we've learned that lesson over time. So we can help you stand up a sandbox to try some changes and try some things without hurting production. And at the same time, we recommend that you look at other opportunities for improvement. The condition scripts and filters and things like that, there may be some ideas that you might have on how to improve your system, or if we're looking at it with you, we might suggest some improvements. So if we're making the change, maybe we can change more than just moving from one platform to the other. Maybe we can make the system run a little bit better for you. And then we can support you through the testing and the rollout. So for many, the change has been super easy. And there was a case that we just talked about yesterday. Harper and I were talking about it, and when this customer we did some work for made the change and we didn't even know it. And they're like, oh, we're fine. Others, it's an opportunity to maybe make other changes, but there's some other things to look out for if you're using the sourcing tab or integrations and things, and we can help guide you through that process.